the list of Around the Horn Tournament of Champion winners. The stuff of legends. Who will it be this year? Clinton Yates, Tim Calishaw, Frank Isola, and making her return for one last title, Jackie McMullen. For all the crypto hard seltzer NFTs. Let's go around the horn.
Michael Jordan came back to the Wizards. Are you allowed to come out of retirement?
This is Fast and Furious. Jackie back for one last job. Here we go.
Take a picture. It's going to be a snap.
Your family. Clinton Yates had an incredible 2021. You love to see it. He led the league in wins. That's why he's here today. The sweater is just a bonus. Tim Calishaw, Plasma 2, the durable stalwart around the horn, leading the league in appearances. The best ability is availability, Tim. Good job out of you. Francis Isola led the show in mutes. He politicked with producers that stat should get you in the tournament champions. We gave up is how Frank wins every discussion. So he's here. And the one category nobody saw coming, Jackie McMullen. She, of course, led the show in retirements with one. So that gets you in. Comes back today. Glorious return, Jackie. Great to have you here. But I'm going to have to go into the rafters and take your jersey down.
Yes.
Oh, no. Right. Yeah, it comes down for today. If you win, I guess we got to add another number to the jersey. Congrats to you all. Good luck. Let's go round the horn.
That jersey.
All right, you make the call, national panel. We've done this before. We'll do it again to our dying day. Pass interference or no pass interference. This was not the only reason Rams 20, Seahawks 10, but it is a big reason. Tim Calishaw, did Seattle get hosed?
Oh, I don't think there's any question they did. I mean, sometimes interference calls are tough. You got two guys hand-checking each other, and you don't know where it starts. Here you have a receiver turn around, and the rookie linebacker doesn't, and he traps both of his arms. He has no way to catch that football. It's fourth down. If you don't call it, that is the end of the game. You can always say, yeah, Seattle could have done other things. Russell Wilson could have hit an open Metcalf earlier. They obviously made some mistakes along the way, but that's a bad call, and we've seen the Rams benefit from a missed interference call at a higher level in an NFC Championship game. This wasn't that, but it's a terrible call, and Seattle should have had a chance to tie the game.
Clinton Yates, champion.
I happen to be of the opinion that quarterbacks are way too often rewarded for throwing the ball short, and defenders who aren't in a position to do anything other than cover their man get caught in between. But specifically on this drive, the reason why I don't think it was going to work out is because, hey, it was 3rd and 1, then they got a false start. Then they decided to run the ball on 3rd and 6 for God knows what reason. That gets blown up. Then on 4th down, they have to call a timeout, and they come out with that. You're telling me that team is suddenly going to turn around and win the game? I don't think so. They didn't get cost anything because of that. I mean, it wasn't going to cost them the game. It was just a call that could have gone either way.
Frank Isola, champion.
By the way, I love how Clinton Yates is giving us all the plays. The question was about that play in particular. And Clinton, you know this. In hockey, lacrosse, that's slashing. In basketball, that's a foul. And guess what? In the NFL, that's pass interference. I have an idea, Tony. Why don't you tell your friends at the league office, why don't they do this? Why don't we review at least one pass interference call a game? Because right there, if you review that would get overturned. That's an idea. Maybe the NFL should consider something like that, because in that case, that changes the outcome of a game. But remember this about Seattle, though. Russell Wilson in this game, 1 for 11 on passes of 10 or more yards. Worst completion percentage of his career. So they didn't play well, but they got jobbed on that call.
And Jackie McMullen, champion.
So, yes, but I mean, we all agree it was a bad call. We all agree it was an interference call. But then how do we take the leap that it cost them the game and that Seattle was going to be certain to score? These guys are 29th in red zone scoring defense, guys. This is a team that can't win close games. They're 2-4 in one-score games. This is a team throughout the course of the season hasn't been able to punch it into the end zone when given great field position. So, yes, I agree. A horrendous call. We all agree on that. But to start saying, well, it cost them the game, they were going to score, we don't know that.
Calishaw, champion. You want back in?
Yes, Jackie. First, it's great to have you back. Second, you're dead wrong. Seattle is not a good team. We know they're not a good team. Russell Wilson hasn't had a good year, but they deserve the chance to get the ball at the 30-yard line.
Right.
That was a
I agree.
terrible missed interference call.
Agree, but doesn't mean they punch it in, Timmy.
Thank you.
Nice to see you as well.
Well, probably.
Anybody want to make the case Cooper Kupp could be MVP this season? He's leading the league in every receiving statistic. Here's a question I have for you, National Panel of Champions. Let's throw Jonathan Taylor in there as well. You know, a quarterback has won MVP 13 of the last 14 seasons, but could this be the year a non-quarterback wins? Champ, what do you think? Clinton Yates.
I think so. It could be. And if I'm going to pick between the two, I'm going to pick Cooper Kupp. I realize that Taylor's having a good year, but the Rams are better. And Cooper Kupp, for goodness sakes, he's breaking franchise records that Hall of Famers set back when the greatest show on turf was a thing. He's made this team go for a couple seasons now. It's not just this one. If that guy goes, that team's no good. I think that he's really been a standout in this league, and it's unfortunate that he's not a bigger star. This award would, of course, take him there.
Tim Kalishaw.
You know, I think it's been a two-horse race between Brady and Rodgers, and I don't know what's going to happen with these last 3 weeks with all the injuries Tampa has. For me, Taylor is more in this race than Kupp. Kupp is great. He's been phenomenal. Taylor is more than 400 yards ahead of the next back, Joe Mixon. The Colts are 8-0 when he runs for 100 yards. They're 0-6 when he doesn't, and they didn't even give him a 20-carry game until week 10. It took Frank Reich a while to figure out this is how we win football games. Keep feeding Jonathan Taylor.
Frank Isola.
Yeah, you wonder if their names were Derrick Henry and Odell Beckham if we would look at it differently. And what Cooper Kupp has done leads the league in receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. Yeah. But I still think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. When you think about it, right now they have the best record. He has played really well. But if you're ever going to give it to a wide receiver, this would be the year.
And Jackie McMullen.
The problem is we never give it to receiver.
Never.
I mean, if Cooper Kupp breaks Megatron's record, I mean, never, like statistically never. If he breaks Calvin Johnson's record, maybe he gets a little more juice. You mentioned Derrick Henry, Frank. He passed that magical 2,000-yard rushing mark in 2020. He didn't win. We all kidding ourselves here. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. That's how it goes.
You look at the history here, and it is surprising, Jack. You said no receiver ever. Megatron didn't do it when he set the record. And then there's another year by Jerry Rice. It was a strike year. He only played 11 games, had 22 touchdowns. He won one of the alternative MVP awards, I guess, one given by writers. You know, who would do that?
Right.
But the list is quarterback every year. Is that
Adrian Peterson?
Yeah, Adrian Peterson is the last running back. Jackie, you're bringing it today. You know, there was one defensive player to win MVP in the last 40 years. Anyone know the name of that guy?
Oh, I should know that.
Champions in our midst. You don't know. Lawrence Taylor. Does the name ring a bell? Lawrence Taylor. And there was one kicker. There was one kicker. Does anybody know who that was?
Mark Mosley.
Mark Mosley.
Mosley.
All right. How did a kicker win 1 year? What were they doing back there in 1983? We'll move on. Philly 27, Washington 17. Do the Eagles look like a playoff team, Danny, or you? Jalen Hurts had a tough start, pretty great finish. Kind of looks like the real deal. And he set a franchise record for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback for a season. And this is a franchise that has had Randall Cunningham and Michael Vick, so that's a pretty good record. Frank, champion. Is Jalen Hurts proving he is the present and future of the Eagles?
By the way, they look like a playoff team, not one that could win 3 playoff games. I'm not sure they could win 1. I'm going to give him at least 1 more year. And, you know, this whole idea of developing these young players, especially at the quarterback position, I think these teams give up on these guys too quickly. You know, here's a situation where last night he might have had his best game, 20 of 26. He ran the ball well. He needs to cut down on the turnovers, but that's something about having experience, kind of knowing where the rush is coming from. I'm not, with the draft picks I have, I'm not drafting a quarterback. I'm giving him at least 1 more year.
You know, Frank's Giants are committed to giving Daniel Jones a 4th year, so I guess it stands to reason Jalen Hurts gets a 3rd. It wasn't his running last night. It was his pass efficiency. That was a great touchdown throw to Ward. Goddard actually hurt him with a couple drops. But with those 3 first-round picks, they need to get the 3 best players around Jalen Hurts, whether they're offensive or defensive players, and see what he can do with a better team and try to compete and win the East next year.
Clinton Yates, it's all coming together at the end of that game. The start of the game, Sirianni is screaming at him after the turnover, but to see him work with Devontae Smith, who made a phenomenal catch, and you know he can get the ball in the end zone running, how do you feel about Hurts right now?
I think Frank is right in terms of the development, not just for the league overall, but this team in specific has had a complete carousel at that position ever since the Super Bowl situation happened, and that's why I'm not getting rid of Hurts. Make this kid better because the talent is there. Listen, since week 8, this team has scored on 53% of their drives. That's the same stat as the 2007 Patriots, okay? Something is there. You just have to find a way to make it work. And like I said, like Tim said, with those 3 first-round picks, don't waste one on another QB that you're not going to try to develop anyway. You got one right there. Make it work, coach.
And Jackie Mack.
How can you possibly decide to move on from Jalen Hurts? He wasn't even a starter until week 14 of his first season, and now he's playing this year. I
don't think anyone's suggesting move on from him. I just mean, what do you have in Jalen Hurts right now? Do you believe?
Well, it's a work in progress, Tony, because the landscape isn't complete. He hasn't played enough games. He has 10 rushing touchdowns. The only one that's close to him is Tannehill with 7. He's got twice as many as Kyler Murray, twice as many as Cam Newton. We know he can rush it into the end zone. He has to be less careless with the ball, which is why Sirianni was yelling at him 2 inches from his face. And by the way, Sirianni is now in COVID protocols. I'm a little worried, quite frankly, about Jalen Hurts at this point, to be truthful.
Kalish, this is a team that, well, they got to 7. They're in the hunt. The famous hunt with Minnesota, with New Orleans. You could throw Washington in there. I mean, they were in it going into the game, and they're not healthy right now. Who is the most playoff worthy of those 4?
I think Philadelphia is the most playoff worthy. They obviously have some holes, but they play more like they did last night. They're the best of that group.
And Frank, I saw you're covering the Giants and Jets locally. You know nothing about the
Minnesota.
playoffs. But he's got a Minnesota in there. Yeah, sure.
Minnesota.
All right, we've been Horn. We're taking a break right here. When we come back, ISO Joe. And that's, of course, the greatest nickname for a player right now. You know he's socially distanced. ISO Joe back in the NBA for the Celtics, Jackie Mack. Do you remember the last time he played for the Celtics?
It was like 2002.
Yeah, we
It's
might
like 20
have
years ago.
an NBA Jam roster playing Christmas Day. We'll talk about it by ourselves next.
Crazy.
The big 3.
Around the Horn is presented by Truly Hard Seltzer. Live truly. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour. Welcome back to Around the Horn, brought to you by Chase. Coming to you from the Seaport District at Pier 17.
Give me the music again. Everything is better with the Tournament of Champions remix. Courtesy of Primetime, of
Need
course.
more points.
Kalishaw, 22, McMullen, 18. Isola Yates, some work to do in the Tournament of Champions. Let's go by ourselves. Love you, Boomer. On the list of greatest starts to a season ever, I submit to you South Carolina basketball. They've beaten numbers 5, 9, 2, 8, 15, and another 2, all before Christmas. Last night coming back from 18 down to beat defending champion Stanford, avenging their 1-point Final Four loss to the Cardinal. What are you buying? What are you selling, champ?
Sorry, I was writing those numbers down. I'm going to have to use them to play the lottery later. What a daggone roster of wins for them. But overall, we love Dawn Staley and everything she's bringing to the game from a spotlight standpoint. That place was packed last night. And at this point, it has been this case for about the last 5 years. The women's game in college basketball is just plain better as a product than the men's. Last night's game was an example of that. We'd love to see it.
Champ, what are you buying? What are you selling?
I'm buying the South Carolina. Had 13,000 fans last night. They play a big-time schedule. Selling that Tara Vanderveer, somehow a great coach for over a long period of time, is 1-9 in 1 versus 2 games. That seems odd.
Okay. Fright Guy Sola, champ, what do you got?
I mean, Stanford is up by 17 in the 3rd quarter. Destiny Henderson, by the way, of South Carolina, 7 steals. And Stanford had 20 turnovers in the game, but Clinton is right, though, about Dawn Staley. Think about the job that Jim Calhoun did with the men at UConn. That's what Dawn Staley's done at South Carolina, building a complete powerhouse. What a
And
job.
champ, what do you got?
Well, and that's the thing, Frank, you've hit on it. It's their defense, and we can talk about Aliyah Boston, who's going to be player of the year. She's amazing. They got a great roster. Remember this now, that 2019-20, Tony, they lose the week after Thanksgiving to Indiana. They don't lose again. 26 in a row. They never get a chance to win the national championship because they don't play the games. They make it to the Final Four last year. When you look at their body of work, they're doing what UConn used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
They're taking on all comers. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, those numbers are lottery, right? Yates, give me a Yolanda Vega reference, and you'll get some more points on this show. That's what you need in the Tournament of Champions.
It's okay. I know how to win. Just check the record.
NBA news of the day, Luka Doncic into the COVID protocol. And we got more cancellations. Raptors Bulls today, Nets Blazers tomorrow, both postponed. And the other news of the day, Joe Johnson, ISO Joe, out of the association for the last 3 years, signed to a 10-day contract by the Celtics. So, let's take a listen to Adam Silver yesterday.
Are there any plans right now to stop or pause the season to allow for the spread to slow?
No plans right now to pause the season.
That's to Malika Andrews on NBA Today. So, Tim, buy or sell the position the NBA is in right now, going into the big Christmas Day slate where you don't even know what teams are going to be available. Buy or sell them, pause it.
Yeah, I mean, I sell the pause. We're going to miss some stars on Christmas for sure, but you pause if you know what's on the other side. If you know in a week or 10 days or a month, things are going to be better. If it's bad weather, you pause. Nobody knows what's coming. You got to keep fighting.
Frank Isola?
Yeah, I always feel like October is a soft opening for the NBA, and they really want to start the season on Christmas. And Tim is right. You know, you might not have Kevin Durant. You're probably not going to have Trae Young. Now, Luka Doncic. It's unfortunate, but I think the NBA is doing the right thing, forging ahead the way.
Jackie, if Christmas Day were to not have Durant, not to have Trae Young, not to have Luka Doncic, and we could be adding more guys as we get closer to the game, should they be playing those games?
Well, in a perfect world, no. But this is all about money. It's all about the bottom line. And Christmas Day, they have a captive audience, and people get up in the morning and open their gifts and watch all those slates of games. And I don't think they feel they can afford to forfeit that. And I understand the logic behind that. Let's be honest here. The genie's out of the bottle with COVID. There's going to be problems all season long with every sport. And you just have to try to fight through it the best you can.
But if you want to put your best product forward on the biggest day on your schedule, at least in the first 5 months.
So you don't put a product at all, Tony? But then the alternative is not to put a product at all?
Well, we're doing a show with champions here. We're not doing the show of tournament eliminated. You know, I mean, we're putting our best product out here. Clinton Yates, how about you?
Barely.
Yeah, for that reason, I don't think it's smart for the NBA to do this. First of all, the NFL plays on Christmas, so they have competition there. Secondarily, there's a larger percentage of stars there than there are to the overall labor force in the NBA. Without the stars, it's just not the same. I'm sorry. When Joe Johnson's news came up on my IG, he was wearing a Big 3 jersey as his last one. You don't want that in terms of what your marquee product is.
The Mavericks are about a week away from having to sign Mike Isolino and Derek Harper and bring back the champs, the Milwaukee Bucks. What was it, Brad Lohaus and Blue Edwards? I mean, we're going to be playing NBA Jam 2 vs. 2 soon. Buy or sell 3, NHL making a decision. COVID-related, some would say, not allowing players to go to the Olympics. They're also getting rid of the Olympic break they had scheduled. The plan now is for a lot of the COVID postponements to be played then. Frank, buy or sell?
I think they made the right choice not to go. Here's the thing, which will be unpopular. You want to have professional players in the Olympics like the NBA does. They play in the summer. Just move the hockey to the summer. I understand it's a winter sport, but I'm not breaking up the season. You know, the owners, the general managers, and the coaches in the NHL, this is what they want.
Jackie Mack?
Yeah, this is a necessary evil, I would say. I do feel bad for guys like Crosby, players at the end of their career that may not get another chance at the Olympic Games. Don't ever discount the fact that if you're an aging veteran, you want to get one last shot at it. But the bottom line is this. You've got a lot of games to make up, and where else are you going to do it? I think they'll end up tacking an extra week on the end of the
Clinton
season
Yates?
also.
Yeah, it's a bummer for me because this is my favorite brand of hockey on earth, including the NHL. So for it not to happen in this way, I think for a lot of people who are fans of the sport more largely, it takes something away. But I don't really understand how you're going to try to make up games to the point where everybody's supposed to stop. You need to stop in order to make sure that it doesn't spread. So, I don't know, it's a tough spot.
Never been a fan of shutting down the season to do this. It was okay to do it once or twice. I don't like the end results. Hallelujah. Glad they're not going.
Hallelujah. Kalisha McMullen.
Happy.
There it is. That is going to be our matchup in Showdown for the
Hold
tournament.
guard,
champions.
baby.
Clinton
Hold
Yates,
guard.
an incredible year
Ask
for you.
for more.
One less.
Frank Isola, you were also here. Kalisha
I don't like
McMullen,
those Warriors. I
Showdown
don't like
for
that
the
Warriors
Tournament
team.
of Champions.
I don't like that Warriors
2021 title.
Remember?
Next.
73 wins.
There is only one way to decide our year-end show. Wheel controversy.
Choosing the right card. Choosing the right word.
You know, this one's tough because you said all the right words, including the word, but as you know, it's got to be more or less continuous. We'll allow for a little pause, but not 4 or 5 seconds.
Wow, basketball has continuation. Wheel does not. Right call, Tim Kalisha?
The right call. The great game shows, Tony, have to have rules, and they have to have tough scoring like this show. That's why we're here 19 years later.
Jackie Mack?
This is a Wheel of Fortune travesty. Audi, if you're paying attention, give her the car anyway. You stopped her for choosing the right word. Literally. Come on.
Without
now.
rules,
Whoa.
what do we have, Jackie McMullen? We have a Tim Kalisha Tournament of Champions title. Congratulations, Tim.
Tony, it's a thrill to win, apparently, my second Tournament of Champions. But I still, you never get over not winning the first one. 2011, we made our debut with Tournament of Champions. I did not win. I was at the Giants game that Sunday. James Lofton, a fellow Hall of Famer. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm in the Richardson High School Hall of Fame. He said, I didn't see the end of the show. Who won? I said,